to my Barbados Workers Union family. Tonight is about record. We just heard from the candidate, Ian Goodenough, and he was speaking about record. Tonight, I am in an unenviable position. I'm in a position that no other candidate in this election can claim, because I have two of the largest constituencies in Barbados. The constituency of St. George North, which makes it possible for me to deliver more effectively for the constituency of the Barbados Workers Union. Tonight, I am grateful for that opportunity, and I don't take it for granted. But I want to speak to you a bit about record. And tonight is not all about exciting you the base, but it's about helping us to understand what more where it matters means. More where it matters is not a slogan for St. George North. More where it matters is a slogan for the entire 30 constituencies. Because as we go into this election, as we go to the polls on February 11th, we know the record that has been set by the Barbados Labour Party. And it is that record, not that record that we are voting for alone, but it is confidence in that record that will make us place RX with the red and ready team, the team that is going to be able to take us forward into a next term. And I just want to talk to you about that. When Labour leads, when Labour leads, when Labour leads, not to be taken for granted. I want to take you back a bit, so bring it down. Because I remember back when I was a young General Secretary, not young only in age, but young in the role. And I can remember Barbados facing some very difficult times. And during those times, we hoped that we as Labour would have been able to work together with the government in the same way that we had partnered over the years to bring this country through some of the most difficult times. But what do I remember? I remember Labour reaching out its hand. I remember the private sector too, but tonight I'm focusing on Labour. I remember Labour reaching out its hand in partnership to say we have been through these times before. We have been through difficulties before, and we were able to navigate through them together. And I remember that outstretched hand being rejected. Then when it reached the point that we had to be protesting for it, it was met with, ignore them. They're only burning calories. But I want you to contrast that with 5 years ago, what brought me into this moment. And it's a little difficult to believe, maybe funny even, that in 5 years, this is my third election that I'm going into. But what brought me into the Barbados Labour Party family 5 years ago was another crisis. It was a crisis called COVID. And it was not only a health crisis that this country was going through, but workers and their family directly and indirectly were going through this crisis at a time when we observe all around the world rights and benefits being repealed, when we observe workers losing their jobs carelessly, and a prime minister is approaching the general secretary of the leading labor union in this country and saying, come and help. And I don't know if you recall that it was just five short months after not only I received the call, responded to the call, but after the good people of St. George North allowed me to serve, that we started seeing evidence that where labor leads, Barbados succeeds. Because guess what? What was the first thing we saw? Minimum wage. Minimum wage moving from $6.25 for shops assistance. Because there was no national minimum wage, but now we had a national minimum wage that moved the wage from $6.25, where it had become the practice across other sectors, to $8.50, then to $10.50, then to $10.71. You know how much money that is in people's pockets? Have we stopped to realize that this is labor leading in a Barbados Labour Party and giving true meaning to a Barbados Labour Party that saw people getting just under $5 an hour more in 4 short years? When labor leads, we saw it also for the tourism workers. And there are so many people that take our tourism workers for granted. The Barbados Workers Union will have a campaign for them soon, but that is not for tonight. During COVID, when our borders were closed, tourism workers had the benefit of being guaranteed hours where they could retrain, reskill, where properties could green and so on, but we did not just stop there. We knew that we would get through this because labor working with the private sector and the government in this country has shown time and time again how and what is possible when we work together. And tourism workers not only got their jobs, but tourism workers now have labor concessions, rights, where their employers, if they're going to benefit from concessions, they have to do right by labor. And then we did not only stop there, because we saw it with the maternity and the introduction of paternity leave for the first time in Barbados. Now, my colleague, Member of Parliament in St. Peter, he would want to take credit for this, but I want you to understand that it was the Barbados Workers Union introducing paternity leave across its agreements for over 20 years that encouraged this government that it could go the extra step and put it into law. When labor leads, Beijing succeeds. But I want to connect now to the good people of St. George North. Because as I said, have not for the vote of the good people of St. George North, none of this work is possible. They understand that they are electing a fearless fighter, not only for labor rights, but for their rights as it pertains to the constituency. So whether it is roads, whether it is housing, they understand, although like other Bajans, they get very frustrated that things are not happening fast enough. But I know that all of you in the hearing of my voice are convinced of one thing, that when the Barbados Labour Party is leading, when labor is leading, this country continues to rise. And I want to encourage us all that when we go to the polls on February 11th, we do not see ourselves. We do not see just that person that we look at in the mirror every day, but we see a country that is rising. We see a country that was on the brink, and a country that is now growing into the envy of so many across this world. And I want you to send a strong message to the detractors, those who are seeking to undermine this very country that this party has sought to uplift for the last 7 years, casting aspersions and causing people to doubt the integrity of our process, and by the extension, the integrity of what we have been doing, fighting for the last 7 years. And I want you, with the strongest vote, not to take for granted that the Barbados Labour Party will win an election on the 11th of February, but to guarantee for your families, guarantee for your children, guarantee for your future that this Barbados Labour Party will continue to take this country forward, where